So what we're doing today is we're going to do the beginner's ice bath. There are a lot of people out there, and they're like, well, how do I get started? We have the Morozko Forge, which makes its own ice. It's got its own filtration system. I'm going to activate the filtration right now. So it stays clean with filtration and ozone for disinfection. And then we're going to shoot for 2 minutes.
Cool.
I'm going to talk you through it. The breath is important. There are some reasons to do it, and there's some safety tips. And we're going to talk about the reasons to do it and the safety tips along the way. You look like you're ready to go.
Had a long morning.
Okay.
Had a very long morning.
Then we're going to try and put you in the right mental state to get into the ice water. You're at 34 degrees right now, whereas typically, if you're outdoors and you add pounds of ice, you're somewhere in the low 40s. Low 40s is great for metabolic benefits. I can feel the difference between 44 and 34. You'll probably feel it too. When you get in, because you're a mammal, you're going to feel the gasp reflex. So here's the right state of mind. You're up on the 29th floor, and all of your subjects, this is the entire kingdom now is before you.
Nice.
When you get in, you're going to keep your composure. You're going to get in with grace because you are a king.
I can do that. I can try anyway.
Present yourself to the world as you want your subjects to see you. Does this make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay. You're going to feel the gasp reflex. That's okay. Immediately take control of your breathing. I use box breathing. Sometimes I'm like in 6, out 4. Sometimes I get it the other way, or it doesn't matter. Structure your breathing. That's one of our important safety tips.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Ready as I'm going
Let's
to be.
go, Aaron. Yeah, give it a shot. I'm going in after you. Out of the way.
Down to the neck.
It's one step at a time. So right now, you're doing great with the breathing. Now you got control of your breathing. And because you're a beginner, you're up to your nipples right now, which was fantastic. The next challenge is to get down to your armpits. You're gonna be, 2 inches away.
Arms out, arms in.
We'll take it one step at a time. Because remember, there's people watching and they don't have as much experience as you. Terrific. You're up to your armpits. Now you can go arms in, hands out. One of the things I like to do is fingertips together. Joe Navarro sometimes calls this the prayer position. This is a power pose. You never see anybody in like a movie or a position of weakness with their fingers together like this.
You always look cool.
This is the Godfather pose, right? You're in charge.
You always look cool.
Okay. Terrific. Your breathing is relaxed. It's terrific. What you've got now is cold water up to your clavicles. If you have any brown fat, it's going to be up above your clavicles, kind of at the base of your neck, between your shoulder blades, up high at the base of your neck, and inside your body around your heart. The purpose of brown fat is to keep your body warm. So you've activated whatever brown fat you have. The glucose that travels through your bloodstream is going to your brown fat to fuel what's called cold thermogenesis, to keep you warm. You don't seem to be shivering in your muscles or in your jaw at all. Terrific. If beginners that get in there and they start shivering, what it means is they've started the cold thermogenesis. There are 2 ways to do it. One is the shiver response. Most adults have minimal brown fat and they will keep themselves warm by shivering. But after you've been at cold exposure for a while, or maybe you're a winter sports type person, you have enough brown fat where you don't shiver anymore. The brown fat does it automatically. It'll clear glucose from your bloodstream. It'll take lipids from your white fat, and it'll burn those too. Oxidize is a better word, to create the heat that keeps your body warm. There are a lot of changes going on in your body right now. One of them is called vasoconstriction. How are your toes doing?
I feel them, but they're starting to lose sensation.
Okay. You can put your hands in, and you're going to feel a big difference. Because the hands have a particular kind of structure that makes them efficient for losing heat. You're going to lose more heat through your palms than any other part of your body that is submerged. Try lowering your hands and see how they feel. There you go. Right away, the temperature receptors in your skin are saying, oh, this is cold. we're going to contract the smooth muscle tissue that controls blood flow, controls the circulation in your extremities, includes your toes, your legs, your arms, your fingertips. We're going to shut off that blood flow. And that is an effort to conserve energy, to keep the thermal loss down low, so your internal organs in your torso can stay warm. A couple of things you can do with your hands, because remember, you lose more heat through your hands than any other part of the body that is submerged. We're keeping your head out for now. Prayer position is great. You can put them on your legs. In other words, cover the palms. It will reduce the heat loss from the palms. And sometimes when I'm trying to show off how long I can stay in the ice, I'll tuck my hands underneath my armpits, keep them warm against my torso there. But when I'm talking and shooting a video, I gotta use my hands, so I keep them out. And it's whatever you need to do. Sometimes people like to hold on to the edge because they get a feeling of security by grasping the sides of the toe. Now, you've done, I don't have the timer, but you've probably done 2 minutes. I think you're starting to get a little bit of a shiver. Your breathing is still good.
Breathing's still good, definitely a shiver.
Can you go down to your chin? There you go. That's it. You have now submerged the base of your neck. You've submerged all the places that might have brown fat, just to let them know they have a job to do, and that job is to keep you warm. Human beings evolved to expect the cold. Just like your body needs exercise, just like it needs good nutrients, your body needs cold exposure because of the way we evolved for it. If you don't get enough cold exposure, it's just like not getting enough exercise. It will result in metabolic disorders. Just like if you don't have enough exercise, you become more prone to disease. You have nothing left to prove. Your body has biochemically responded to the cold. It's creating dopamine. It's creating noradrenaline, also called norepinephrine. It takes about 30 seconds for the norepinephrine to hit your brain. And sometimes we get this involuntary smile that shows up. You're very stoic, beautiful. But my daughter gets in and she is saying, "Oh, my toes hurt so much." But she's smiling because the chemicals that her body produces create an involuntary pleasure response in the brain, even as her toes and her hands are screaming at her that you're going to die, get us out of here. When the body starts complaining too hard, we tell the body what's really going on. We tell it, this is what cold feels like. No. This is not an emergency. You have activated your sympathetic nervous system. This is the arousal reflex, the fight or flight response. And so every part of your body is saying, Aaron, get us out of here. Right. It is up to your brain to say, this is what cold feels like. I'm going to do this for a few more seconds. We've measured people on dry land meditating. We've measured them in the forge, 34 degrees. And you would be amazed what happens to their brain waves. It is so much easier to put your brain in a meditative state when you're in the cold water than it is when you're in the warm air. But you don't feel that way. Right. It's an involuntary response. Even though you're excited and you're saying, oh my gosh, this is so exciting to me. How could I possibly be calm? It's a lot easier for your brain to get into that slower brainwave, meditative brain state. And you would be amazed how the heart slows down when you're in the cold. You got nothing left to prove.
We'll go a couple more seconds.
There you go. I say 2 minutes is enough, and anything after that, you're just showing off. But I like showing off. So maybe I'll do 4 or 5 sometime. As you come out, we are fortunate to have the sun. Stand in the sun you're gonna make some vitamin D, let that come down on your body. I've got a towel for you. You can air dry it, you can towel dry it, but we're gonna get you a little bit of exercise. While you're drying, I'm gonna plunge. One of the things that I do, I'm working on my breath holds, I'm working on my full dunk. But I always go feet first. It's one of the safety tips for it sober. Supervise children, because it's a bath. I mean, people drown in the bath, and we don't want any, Jim Morrison kind of like suspicious things to happen in
Morozko freezing.
Just the cold, not the drowning. So, for it sober, supervise children, feet first. Going in face first will activate what's called the dive reflex. And when you activate the dive reflex and the gasp reflex at the same time, your body is in conflict. So think about it this way. The gasp reflex causes you to inhale. And if your nose and your mouth is anywhere near the water, you might inhale water. Okay? The dive reflex slows your heart down. And this is because human beings are aquatic apes. They're meant to dive, they're meant to fish, they're meant to wade. And the dive reflex says, okay, you're going underwater, you gotta hold your breath. We're gonna slow down your metabolism, we're gonna slow down your heart rate, we're gonna slow down the rate at which you produce carbon dioxide in your bloodstream. That's so you can go get the lobsters or the clam or whatever you're going for. The dive reflex slows you down, but the gasp reflex can speed everything up. Because those two things can be in conflict, we say always go in feet first. After I've mastered the gasp reflex, then I'm ready for the head dunk that might activate the dive reflex. So here I go, look the spots.
It's completely next level.
A lot of people will use the ice bath to recover from exercise. And it feels great. It will take down inflammation, it will reduce soreness, it will get you back, your body back to where you can perform faster. But if what you're really doing is trying to build strength, trying to build muscle, then don't do the ice bath after your workout. Wait 4 or 5 hours at least. I exercise after my ice bath. I do the cold exposure before I do the workout. And I discovered this accidentally. I was doing keto and ice bath because my prostate-specific antigen test, PSA test, came back way too high. That's a marker of potential prostate cancer. I talked to a bunch of guys. I did not want a biopsy. I did not want surgery. Their experiences convinced me that I wanted to do anything I could to get my prostate healthy before I went allopathic medicine and doctor. So I said, okay, I'm going to work on this with keto and ice bath instead of biopsy. Of course, I was doing ice baths every day. I'd come out, I'm colder than heck. So I was doing my mace, I was doing my kettlebells, I was doing squats. I had a barbell to help me out. It's very little, not even 20 minutes of exercise. Sometimes I would do push-ups, sometimes I would do pull-ups. My PSA dropped from over 7 to less than 1. A huge success, right? But at the time, I was getting my own blood tests done. I'm checking all the boxes, male health. And my testosterone shot up to 1180. Now, at the time, I was 53 years old. And 1180 nanograms per deciliter in a 53-year-old is like off the freaking charts. You'd think I was 19 or something. Yeah. And so I'm like, that is amazing. And I never really had a T problem, but at that high level, I'd gone up from like 700 up to over 1100. I had to figure out what was going on. Turns out there's a study in Japan. If you do your exercise and then you do your cold exposure, your T levels go down. But if you do your cold exposure and then you do your exercise, and in Japan, all they did was 20 minutes on the exercise bike, your T levels go way up. Luteinizing hormone goes way up. So using exercise to recover from your cold exposure, rather than the other way around, is gonna do good things for your hormonal composition.
So it's like a better version of creatine.
You got it. Yeah. There's so much out there, supplements and exogenous T. There's like practically an epidemic of low T in the United States right now. And it turns out that we can produce all the T we need. We just need to stimulate the body to do it. Cold and then exercise is working for me. So I asked Jason to do the same thing. Last time Jason tested was last October. He was at 990. And that was, again, up from around 500. So we're starting to get more of this anecdotal, like case study evidence of what happens with the men's T levels when they do ice bath, then exercise. What I haven't got is anything yet on the ladies. And sometimes the women are like, well, I don't want too much testosterone, what do I want? Like facial hair? But it's not like that. Women need testosterone too, so especially as they approach menopause, and their levels don't get anywhere near as high as men. So if there's any ladies out there who are ready to run their T levels in a before and after experiment, I'd be fascinated to see what happens. So I'm gonna head dump one more time, and then come out, and then I'm gonna get some sun too. So for me, the psychological is the real reason to get into the forge. There's metabolic, and you don't need 34 degrees to get the metabolic benefits. You improve your insulin sensitivity, you stabilize your glucose levels, you stimulate your brown fat, you recruit more brown fat. There's so many metabolic benefits to the cold exposure. But when you get down to the 34 is when the psychological shows up.
Cool.
If you're looking at your forge and you see ice floating around in it and you get that anxiety response, you've activated. Yeah, exactly right. Now
you could go from cold to infrared, and that could be your recovery process.
So a lot of
Buzz it
people,
down.
you got it, they will do thermal contrast therapy. So again, like we have the sunshine and it's 100 degrees in Phoenix, which is great. But they don't have that in Finland. They don't have that, in Russia. But when you pair it with a sauna, now you can go from your Morozko forge to your sauna. You can get the thermal contrast. Here, you're getting vasoconstriction. In a dry sauna, you get vasodilation. And so you're taking the smooth muscle tissues that control your circulation, and first you're clamping them up in the cold, and then you're relaxing them in the sauna. The difficulty with the thermal contrast therapy is your typical infrared sauna only gets up to like 145. It's not hot enough. It's hot enough if you're not doing it with cold therapy, but when you're doing cold therapy, you get in the sauna and you're like, well, I don't know, it's been a half an hour. Am I going to start sweating? You've already taken your skin temperature down so far that you need a greater temperature. I don't have a sauna, but I do have Phoenix, and I have a car. So sometimes I'll do what I call a car sauna. I'll drive around in the sunshine, I'll crank up the heat, and it looks like crazy. You can get up to 180 or hotter in my car.
Sweat.
You got it. Yeah. So, I mean, I can take advantage of my surroundings. But a lot of people in other climates will have a sauna, pair it with their ice bath, crank their sauna up to 185, and they'll go back and forth. The other thing you can do is, if your sauna is large enough, get your squats. So here's the kettlebell. Yep. And sometimes you can do a 360 with your kettlebell, and it stretches things out. My favorite, because I feel so macho when I do it, is to get the steel mix. And I learned these 360s. I don't know if I can really do them here, but from Leo Savage. He taught me how to go around. This is the 25-pound mace. It's not the beginner's model. But that probably helps my testosterone because I feel like some kind of a Persian warrior or something.
Pure Sparta.
Yeah, right. So that's the beginner's guide to ice baths.
Nice guys.
Yeah.
There's so much information in that.
Thanks for being a good sport.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Terrific.